I'm sure sometimes you feel overwhelmed. As a society, we focus so much on being productive, doing more, being busy. Everywhere you turn, you're bombarded with resources on how to be more productive, how to do more things, how to double your working speed, and all of that can truly weigh on your mind. It can make you really overwhelmed and really stressed. I've also been there before, and these are things that I use to cope with being overwhelmed and how to tackle all of this stress and trying to match the living pace of the society. So let's get right into it. So at the core of this is, I think, 3 questions that you need to ask yourself. The first question is, are you truly overwhelmed or are you just tired? Very often, lack of sleep, lack of nutrition in your body can manifest as stress and being overwhelmed because your body interprets the two very similarly. So if you're stressed in your physical being, then very often it might manifest as you being even more tired in your mentality, and that can lead you to feeling overwhelmed. So make sure to actually rule those out when you're trying to tackle overwhelm. Are you resting enough? Are you giving enough quality time for yourself? Are you sleeping enough? Are you eating right? Are you moving throughout the day? So make sure that you actually listen to your body and make sure that it has all its needs met before you think about reorganizing your life or taking on more or trying to do other things to tackle you being overwhelmed. And then the second question that you need to ask yourself is my brain just tired of storing all the information of what I need to do, or is it actually overwhelmed? Very often, people try to remember all of the different time commitments that they have, and they try to remember all of the projects and deadlines, what they have to do, when they have to do it, and all of the to-do list is in their head. Now, your brain is not capable of doing that, plus actually executing the task well and prioritizing and running all of those things at once. So what I recommend you do is, if you have a lot of things on your mind, then try to write it down on paper. Make sure you have a very good system to organize your tasks and your to-dos, and make sure you automate a lot of those things as well. Don't overload your brain when you already have a lot of other things to do. So make sure you dump everything out on paper or into a system so you don't have to deal with actually remembering those. Very often when I find myself overwhelmed, it's because I have too much on my to-do list and I'm trying to keep track of all of that in my head. It always is a very, very quick fix if I just write everything down on paper and then I know how to prioritize those things. It's much easier for my brain to process as well, and it just makes things so much easier. And then the last question that you have to ask yourself is it really necessary for me to do all of the things that I'm doing right now? Very often you are overwhelmed just because you bit off more than you can chew. And that happened to me as well. It's a very common thing in our society because you feel that you have to do everything at the same time to be able to match the rest of the society. But you have to ask yourself, is there a good reason that I'm doing things that I'm doing, or is it just because I would be feeling left out otherwise? Very often, I found that I was doing things because it was good for my CV, but I didn't really enjoy it, and I would have learned a lot more things from other projects or other things that I should be doing instead. So when you're feeling overwhelmed, actually ask yourself and vet all of the projects and commitments that you have, and try to make sure that you actually just do the things that are truly meaningful to you and they have some kind of impact on your life, or you enjoy it, and it's not just things you do because you're feeling left out. You can also ask yourself if you can delegate or postpone or just stop doing the things that you already committed to, so you're able to focus on actually resting and solving this issue of you being overwhelmed, because then you will be able to slowly again build up your tolerance to doing more things if those things are truly necessary. So my top tip to tackle being overwhelmed is answering these questions and then making sure that you reduce the number of commitments to a more manageable level at that moment. And then after that, you can still pile on more stuff if that's truly needed, but only do the things that you are actually capable of doing during one day in the period that you feel overwhelmed. So I hope that this video truly clarified to you how I approach being overwhelmed, and if you're currently overwhelmed, let me know in the comments below if asking those 3 questions of yourself actually helped you. Also, like this video to show your support, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye!